Stephen Krey is a 2022 Raider graduate. During his time at Hastings High School, he has participated in football, soccer, hockey, and track and field. After his freshman year of high school, Stephen switched it from football to soccer and made the varsity in soccer that year. He has been a two-time captain of the soccer team. Not only does he excel in athletics, but in the classroom as well. During this interview, Stephen talks about how to balance sports with academics and find success in both. Stephen has great insight for parents, coaches, and younger students as well. Stephen Krey is a 2022 Raider graduate. During his time at Hastings High School, he has participated in football, soccer, hockey, and track and field. After his freshman year of high school, Stephen switched it from football to soccer and made the varsity in soccer that year. He has been a two-time captain of the soccer team. Not only does he excel in athletics, but in the classroom as well. During this interview, Stephen talks about how to balance sports with academics and find success in both. Stephen has great insight for parents, coaches, and younger students as well. All right, here we are with Stephen Krey. Stephen, we like to get a little background information on all our guests. So the first couple questions here are just three things. So we're trying to find three answers from you. So the first thing is your favorite movie, your favorite food, your favorite artist, your favorite author, or your favorite time of the year. So you could pick three from each of those categories if you really wanted to, or pick three of them, or if you want to give us an answer for each one, that's okay.
Okay, so I'll just pick three of them. So my favorite movie is Happy Gilmore. My favorite food is stuffed crust meat lovers pizza. And then my favorite time of year is the spring.
Nice. So if you could get pizza from one place here in town, where's your go-to place here in Hastings?
I like Green Mill a lot, and I also like Domino's as well.
Okay. All right. I'll allow that. All right, next one here. If you could go to a beach or mountain, which one would you go to? Do you like sweet or salty foods? And do you like dogs or cats?
I would rather go to a mountain over a beach. I like sweet things over salty things. And then I like dogs way more than I like cats.
Wonderful. Last one here on a group of threes. Three words that you think describe yourself.
My first word that would describe myself would be adaptable. My second word would be determined. And then my third word would be positive.
Nice. I think you're the only person that use adaptable. That's a pretty sweet word. That's really neat. All right. Getting into your background then, Stephen. Let's get back to the beginning of your life. Where'd you grow up? Did you always live in Hastings? Did you move to Hastings eventually? Talk about your siblings, brothers, sisters. Give us a little background information on your mom and dad. Are they originally from Hastings as well? Did they move to Hastings eventually? Any extended family around the area? So give us a snapshot there of what your life was like growing up.
Okay, so when I was younger, like throughout elementary school, I used to live just outside of New Trier. But when I got older and kind of got through middle school, we decided to move into town to make it more convenient. And I live with my mom, my dad, and now my younger twin sister. I also have an older brother, but he went to college and he's attending Drake in Iowa. Overall, as a family, we're super competitive, but we just love to have fun.
Nice. So give us, so growing up in New Trier, you said a little, or close to New Trier. Talk about the schools that you went to growing up, and then eventually how you got to Hastings High School as well.
So I commuted like every day into Pinecrest Elementary School. And then I eventually went to the Hastings Middle School. And we just felt like that was more of an opportunity than Cannon Falls. Like time-wise, it was about split even, but we just decided that Hastings would be a great opportunity for me.
Nice. So this podcast, these interviews mainly revolve around sports. So we'd like to get your sports journey in here. I would usually like to ask about the first time you started sports, maybe your first memory of playing sports as well. And then typically I stop around sixth grade, kind of right when we're entering middle school and right when sports maybe get a little more serious here in town. So give us that sports background on yourself, Stephen. What sports did you play growing up? Maybe one of your earliest sports memories. It could be just playing catch with your dad in the backyard, or kicking a soccer ball around with your brother and sister. So, like I said, give us your sports journey stopping around sixth grade.
Okay, so when I was a lot younger, my parents kind of made me do everything that the YMCA had to offer. I played like football, like flag football, soccer, ran track, played hockey, ice skated, swam, played baseball, kind of the whole shebang. One of my earliest sports memories isn't actually a good one. It's kind of funny though. I remember the first day of hockey. I kept falling down because I had no idea how to skate. And I told my mom I would never go back out on the ice and I would never do sports ever again because I hated it so much. And that just changed within like, I'd give it like an hour or two. So that was one of my earlier sports memories. Another one that I have, my dad and I used to play catch a lot. And more specifically, I would have like this little plastic bat and he would like toss underhand balls at me and I would just swing and miss for like 25 minutes until I'd finally hit one. But whenever I did hit one, it was a proud moment for him and me. So that was just something I always remember.
That's awesome. So you talked about running track, soccer, and hockey. Then we get to about the middle of middle school, seventh grade. Did you continue with those sports? Did you cut any out, add any in? So what did the rest of middle school look like for you?
So throughout middle school, I didn't play soccer for the school. I actually played football, like through Little Raiders and then seventh and eighth grade. I played soccer like for our club team outside, so I was able to do both because I wasn't really able to do like a club football team. So to be able to play both, I kind of had to pick and choose. And then I continued hockey and track throughout middle school, and I just met some of my closest friends there. So it was overall a great experience.
Wonderful. We get into ninth grade here. Once again, things kind of start ramping up at the high school level. Walk us through each year, starting in ninth grade, starting in the fall, what sports you played, what level you played on, and then we'll go from ninth grade all the way to 12th grade here that you're in right now, and just go through each year, any accomplishments that the team you were on had, or individual accomplishments as well.
Okay, so freshman year in the fall, I played football because I wanted to stick with that as I played it throughout middle school. I remember we had a pretty good season, but I remember a certain game against Henry Sibley, and I I just feel like that game kind of stuck with me as I remember a certain play by Ben Witt, and it's just kind of funny to me. So every time I think of that, the season in general, I kind of always think of that play and him as well. Throughout the winter, I played hockey at Hastings Lake Hockey Association, not the school yet, and I enjoyed that. It was a great year. I had a lot of great opportunities to get ice time, um, and yeah. And then freshman year, I ran track as well, and that was so much fun. It was weird because I didn't really like track in middle school, to be honest. I just thought it was a lot of running, and I only did because I was fast. But throughout freshman year, I just kind of realized that it's just like the little things. It's like spending time with your friends, and it's not really the sport itself in a lot of cases, but it's what you do around it. And then, so sophomore year is when I transitioned from football or from playing football to soccer in the fall. And then I was fortunate enough to make varsity that year. And I was able to play with my brother, which was pretty cool at the same time because he was a senior. And so that year, I remember we had a pretty good regular season, but we unfortunately lost our first section game. So that kind of sticks with me and it kind of fuels me. And I hate losing in general. So I think of that a lot and I just want to be better and I want to win a section game. And then sophomore year, I was going to run track, but it kind of got cut off a little bit, which was unfortunate due to COVID. So it was a little hit or miss. And I remember, especially in like Spark and stuff, we were doing like different like runs and activities to try to stay in shape and stuff. But I always wanted to be with my friends, and I just thought that would always make it more fun. And then junior year, last year, I was fortunate enough to be voted as a captain for soccer, and I loved it. I loved the experience, but I also learned a lot, And I feel like not just about the game, but about like leadership and what it is to be a leader, and kind of the difference between leading by example and like sometimes yelling too much. So I feel like that kind of transitioned well to me. And then I remember I played hockey last year and I was on the JV team. And I'm I'm gonna be honest, I'm not the best at hockey, but I just love it because I was able to have so many of my friends on the team and we just had a great time. And then also last year I ran track, and that was one of the most fun seasons I've ever had. I just remember a relay team, a 4x2 that we had. We just every meet we just went out and ran, and we did great. So that's just something that always makes me happy whenever I think about it. And then
Nice.
this
Senior
year,
year here.
oh,
Let's get into it. Sorry about that.
yeah. So senior year, so we just started up the soccer season. We're like a little over halfway through, and we've had some ups and downs, but I feel like as a team, we're pretty strongly knitted, I guess you could say. I feel like throughout team bonding with team dinners and whatnot that we can finally do, it kind of helped a lot more than last year. Last year was kind of, obviously with COVID, it was pretty difficult to set anything up like that. But this
Hmm.
year we were fortunate enough to be able to do it. So it's just been a blast so far, and can't wait to finish out the season strong and hopefully get that first section win.
For sure. And then moving into the winter and the spring, are you planning on playing hockey and running track again, or what's your plans with those?
I'm not exactly sure yet. I kind of am super busy with school. I'm taking a lot of different AP classes, so I'm trying to find balance in my life and
Hmm.
still do the things I like without taking too big of a hit in school.
For sure.
So,
Uh, oh, sorry about that. What was it?
I was gonna say I think I'm gonna run track for sure, but I'm not necessarily sure about hockey.
Gotcha. One thing too, did you do it or was your brother? You mentioned your brother Dan, and you mentioned Ben Witt as well. Was that you or your brother that was involved in Special Olympics football, or was it soccer?
It was football. So
Okay. Yeah,
Ben
talk
Witt
about that. That's a really
actually,
cool thing that you were involved in.
yeah. So Ben Witt actually got me involved in that, and it's just a cool opportunity to go have some fun with a lot of the kids and um, teach them football and help along the way. Um, I feel like I've also learned actually so much from that, not necessarily with the football itself, but just how to be a good listener and how to be adaptable. That was actually one of my words, but I feel like that kind of was where it stemmed from in a way. And it's just fun to show up and to see their smiles every day, even like if I'm not having a great day or the Vikings lost or whatever. We
Mhm.
always practice on Sundays. It's just to see their smile. It's just great, and it's always refreshing. So
Nice. Yeah, that's a really cool opportunity. Yeah. So you talked about being a senior right now. Do you have I know it's very challenging and there's a lot of things in the mix right now with college, but uh, are you planning on going to college? Where are you planning? And if you do have a major in mind, what do you think that is?
so I do plan on going to college, but I actually have a few different paths I may want to take. One of those paths might be like towards the engineering side, more specifically like chemical engineering. I just found interesting, or I found AP chemistry really interesting. So if I could maybe continue that and have fun with it, that would be great. But another path I'm also thinking of is maybe like business. I know that my brother is going for something along those lines, and he's having a lot of fun with it, and he thinks it's the best decision he's ever made. So maybe if I could get into something like that and maybe even one day work with him. So,
Nice.
and then specific colleges that I was kind of looking towards. I might go follow my brother at Drake, honestly. Um, there's a lot of cool opportunities there. And just the environment over there was great when I toured it. But I also have like different colleges like Iowa State in mind and St. Thomas, so I'm still deciding.
Wonderful. A lot of good opportunities out there. So then, Stephen, thinking about I think about Mr. Hanson, Mr. Trent Hanson, our AD. He challenges us, our coaches here, all our coaches throughout the district, and says, "Why do you coach?" That's one of his main things. Is he wants to find out why we coach. So flipping that question around to you, and think about you as a student athlete, why do you think you play sports? You talked about growing up, uh, playing catch and hitting the ball in your backyard with your dad. So what do you think attracted you to sports, and why do you play, especially at the high school level, at Hastings High School? So what do you think one of the main reasons why you chose to do sports at Hastings High School is?
I think one of the main reasons I played was just to have fun. I know it's like pretty cliche and everyone says it, but as I grow older, I mentioned this before, but I'm starting to realize that it's like the little things that I'm gonna miss when as I go off to college and get a job in the real world. It's just gonna be those little things like these team dinners and just joking around with your teammates on the sideline and things like that. And another reason why I play, I feel like I want to have fun at the same time, but I also want to be competitive. I love being competitive, and I just hate losing. So being competitive is a bonus for that too. I just love beating someone and seeing their face or something like that. It's just great.
Nice. Next two questions for you, Steven. A little similar, but if you could break them up into two different questions or two different answers, that'd be great. So the first one, playing at Hastings High School, what do you think the best or the most rewarding thing or experience has been? And the second question is your favorite moment or experience as a Hastings Raider. So your most rewarding experience, and then your favorite moment as a Hastings Raider.
One of my most rewarding, well, probably the most rewarding moment is whenever like after a game or after a track meet or something, I go see my parents and like whenever they're like they have that proud face on them, it just makes me so happy. And I feel like there's not like a greater feeling than knowing that your parents are proud of you or something that you did. And then probably my favorite moment was my first varsity soccer game. Um, I remember it because I was so nervous and I just had so many things running through my head. And it was a great team win. And a bonus to that was I actually scored my first goal in that first game. So it was
Nice.
just an all it was just an all around great game. So
Awesome. What about success? This is another question that Trent Hansen asks us all the time as coaches, and asks us to define success and what it means to be a successful coach, and what how we measure success as well. So, as a student athlete, how would you define success, and what does it mean to you?
to me, success means like accomplishing my goals, not just on the field, but off the field too. And I mentioned before that one of my biggest goals is just to have fun. So, and I feel like if I'm not having fun, then why am I playing? So at the end of the year, I kind of think back and just kind of reminisce on all the fun things I've had. And to me, if I have fun or I've met my goals, then that's successful.
Awesome. Getting into playing at the high school level, you've played for multiple different coaches with soccer, hockey, track and field as well. Who do you think, and this could be middle school as well, or maybe a club coach, who do you think has been the best coach, or maybe your favorite coach growing up, or someone that you've played for? Did they teach you something specific? Did they instill some values in you? Did they connect with you on a certain level? So, who do you think that best coach was, and why?
I think my best coach that I've ever had was Coach Black. He coached me in seventh and eighth grade football. And I chose him because I feel like I learned a lot of things and a lot of lessons from him. One of those lessons was what accountability is. Um, he really pressed his players to be accountable for their actions and realize that, I mean, in the real world, you have to be you have to own up to your actions or something like that. And I feel like that skill is something that I've learned or used in my everyday life. And then another reason why I chose him is because he kind of taught me what toughness is and what it means to be tough. Um, like I kind of had a hard time in seventh and eighth grade with being tough. Every time something didn't really go the right way, or I would kind of get super upset, and I would honestly just be mad at myself like the rest of the week or whatever. But he taught me how to keep going and how to keep pushing. And even when things aren't going the way you want them to, how to just adjust and keep pushing and keep fighting, keep persevering.
Excellent. Uh, Once again, you've played multiple sports, Stephen. You've played football early on, middle school, early on in high school as well, soccer, hockey, track and field. So you've played with many different people who've brought different things probably to every sport, you know? So who do you think one of the most valuable teammates is that you played with? And this could be multiple different reasons. This could be someone that really brought a great energy to the team. It could be someone, you're just talking about Mr. Black, teaching you toughness. This could be someone that kind of, when you're having a hard time, picked you up. This could be an older student that really helped you out, or older teammate, I should say, that really helped you out or showed you some things when you're first on the team. So, or maybe just someone that you love just playing with, and you just kind of really vibed with them on the field or on the ice, and someone that you always knew you could rely on. So, who do you think that most valuable teammate is? And once again, you could pick one person from every sport you played, or you could just pick one person if you really wanted to.
Okay, so I think I'm just gonna pick one person because to me, one person really stands out as being that teammate that I always wanted to play with, and that person would be Ben Witt. I feel like he did every little thing right, and he would always look out for his teammates, and he would never let someone be alone. He would never walk or let someone walk alone. And I just thought that's super inspiring, especially as a player when you see him picking up heads when things may not be going the right way, or you see him doing the extra thing even when no one's watching. It's just super inspiring. And I think I learned a lot from him and a lot from playing with him.
Great. Nice. I like that a lot. Yeah, he's a great person. Next one then for you, Stephen, too. Um, I've said it a couple times for the last couple of questions, but you played many sports. So you can answer this question, one sport in particular, or if you want to pick an opponent or an event for each sport, that's okay too. I know we had Coach Jamie Swanson on here, and he talked about some big wins you guys had with soccer, beating St. Thomas, beating North St. Paul. I think you may have beat Hill Murray a few years ago, but anyway, I know hockey has had some big wins over the last few years as well. So the question then for you, after I ramble on here about it, any particular opponent or event that you really look forward to playing, someone that when that was on the calendar, you circled it and read a few times, put some stars around it. So who do you think that opponent was? And once again, this could be a certain sport. So it could just be soccer. It could just be football, hockey, track, or you could pick one for every sport.
Okay, so I kind of have a few different things that make me circle that game on the calendar. One of those things would be playing a rival. Obviously, like coaches have told history and stuff, and a lot of times you don't experience that. But when you do and you play this team multiple times and you kind of understand how they play and how gritty they play, it just makes you want to bring out the best in yourself and makes you want to win even more. And then another thing that I just love to circle on the calendar is whenever I play against someone who I know, like from playing with in club sports or a different whatever, if I know them from whatever the case may be, it's just the competitiveness with like another friend or with a person you know or with a peer. It just it ramps it up tremendously. And every time I play them, I just can't I just don't want to lose so bad, and just it fuels me and it lights a fire inside me.
Nice. Last thing for you then, Stephen, kind of around this area. Uh, Once again, we just had Bella Meyer on here. She was a guest here on the podcast, and she's in a lot of AP classes, like you were saying yourself. So think about this question maybe in a couple different ways. You're in a lot of AP classes the last 2 years, maybe even earlier than that with honors, maybe even college level classes too. So how do you balance sports and academics along the way with improving? So how do you think about your improvement process with your sports while trying to balance all those other things? You talked about having a social life. Now you're doing college visits as well, thinking about your future. There's a lot going on in the world of Stephen Krey. So tell us about your improvement process, along with how do you really balance all that stuff in your life?
So my improvement process is I kind of learn the best from watching or learning from my own mistakes. That can be like film, for example, or just like if I know I messed up, I feel like I learn the most efficiently and the most effectively from that. And I feel like balancing it can be a lot hard in a lot of situations, and sometimes it feels like way too overwhelming. But I also know that there's a lot of people who support me and a lot of people who are rooting for me. So it helps along the way. And when things don't seem up or things seem tough, I just think of other people who support me or have done similar things, and if they can do it, I can do it. So that's how I stay motivated.
Great. All right, last two questions then for you, Stephen. So you played 4 different sports at the high school level, and most of them at the varsity level as well. So if you could give parents or coaches 2 pieces of advice from your experience playing all those sports, all those levels, all those years, what do you think those 2 pieces of advice would be and why?
So for parents, I feel like my biggest piece of advice would be support your kid. And obviously, a lot of parents just comes naturally too. But some parents don't necessarily back their kid a lot of times, like when it comes to juggling, sports in school or something like that. But I feel, I mean, my mom's been incredibly supportive and my dad is too. So I feel like with that strong backing, it kind of makes it easier to stay motivated. So that would be my advice to the parents. My advice to a coach would be to keep it fun. A lot of times coaches get caught up in the X's and O's, which is great in a lot of different situations and circumstances. But there's a fine line between X's and O's and having fun between or yeah, it's just like there's a big difference, I feel like. And you have to keep it fun a lot of times, and it's just the most important thing for me to have fun when you do it. So if it's not fun, then why are you doing it?
Right on. The last thing, and then for you, Stephen, same question, but now thinking about younger student athletes. So kids in that middle school level, right about to get to high school, maybe they're freshman or sophomore year in high school. If you could give these guys, these young student athletes, 2 pieces of advice from your experiences, what would they be and why?
My first piece of advice to those younger athletes would be make relationships and friendships and truly bond as a team. I feel like when you look back and you remember your teammates and your friends that you made along the way, and most importantly, your family that like the people who also compete in the sports, they become your family. And if those relationships are super strong, I feel like it's more likely that you'll have a better experience with high school sports. And then my second piece of advice would be it goes by super fast. So just enjoy over every moment, every little thing, whether it's a practice that you're dreading because it's freezing cold and it's all muddy or something like that, or if it's a game you're super pumped for, just enjoy every little bit of it because you can only do this once at the end of the day. So
Right on. Very well said there, Stephen. So that's all I got for you then. This is the last couple minutes. Anything you want to give a shout out to? Anything you want to talk about? Anything I missed that you want to talk about? The microphone is yours, so you can go for it.
I just want to give a shout out to all the teammates that I played with along the way. Without them, even I feel like you can learn something from everything. So even people who may not be considered great teammates, um, they made me the person I am today. So I'll give a huge shout out to them. And then I just also want to give a shout out to my parents. I feel like they're my rock. So without them, I wouldn't be able to participate in sports, and without them, I wouldn't be able to succeed in school as well. So I just want
Awesome.
to
Oh, sorry. Yeah, go for it. Sorry, Stephen.
I was just going to say thank you for having me. So
No worries at all. Yeah. Thank you, Stephen.